Good morning. How are we doing? Still very cold in, in this British morning. So I've got my, I think it's an ice hockey top, but it's really warm, keeps me warm, and I quite like the look of it. So here it is. Do say hello in the chat if you're watching. That would be great. Just trying to kind of work out what I'm doing here. All right, that's the chat. All right, do say hello if you've just come on. That'd be great. Otherwise, I'm just going to enjoy drinking my coffee. Right, there we go. Excellent. Oh, my window's disappearing there for a second. Oh. Well, today what I thought we might do is just have a little recap just on habits. And I mean, wait for a few more people to get on, but I'm really interested to see, how it's been going with everybody who has been trying to build habits and involving their music making and instrument playing. Need a plectrum. Very quiet today, aren't we? Right, it's starting to run low. There we go. Hi Enzo, how's it going? You've been focusing on theory, very good. What sort of theory, I wonder? So I'm assuming you've been making theory into a habit. That's been part of your minimum viable commitment, yeah. So anybody watching who's kind of come along, basically it was the bank holiday Monday, so usually we do a Monday morning session where it's a more focused thing that we do. And the structure of it at the minute is we're looking at conditions of success. So all the things that we need to have dialed in, as well as our guitar playing skills as music producers. Okay, so this is everything sort of outside of those skills to start with, although we'll be covering the skills later on. Cool. So So there's an order of these different skills that we need, and the way it works is we're doing habits first, then we're going to work on our studio environments next month, which I'm pretty excited about. Then we're going to look at decisions. We're going to have a look at fear, boredom, community, skills, focus. So there's all these things. Focus will be a little bit earlier on. And then obviously we're going to have the skills as well, which I mentioned, which I'm sure everybody will be looking forward to. But for this, and each one happens like every month. So this month it's habits. That's what we're dialing in. Very good. So jazz improvisation applications, jazz fusion stuff. Very good. I think theory is very good. And good, but I hope you're also doing the practical. I hope you're picking a guitar up and kind of playing and doing these things as well. With a focus of what you're going to do with it. You know, I think that's the main thing. I think the interesting thing with me is I've ended up going down a fusion route, and that's simply because of boredom, which we'll be covering later on. I became very bored just with my playing and just need to kind of spice things up a little bit, you know. So that's where that sort of fusion influences come along, and the way it manifested itself really was. I mean, I suppose when I think about it in reflection, there's been a lot of fusion things that I've done, but in particular, sort of adding chromaticism in my playing in quite a big way now. I really like it. So it's you just getting bored and you're just pulling from different areas. But what I would say is you just got to kind of grab the ball and run with it and start actually playing. I'm assuming you're not just sitting there doing theory, Enzo. But when people mention theory, I think, all right, hold on. Are they just sitting there? So I think with me, you know, when I started kind of doing all of that, it was right, I don't know what my playing's going to say. Right, let's have a look. Get tuned. The first thing. Still out, isn't it? Right. Chuckle. What's that like? So that's the clean on nunchuck. It's very good, isn't it? Let's have a look at the chat here. Yeah, I feel like we're always working on very similar things because of our backgrounds, goals via guitar, right? Everything becomes easier when we apply the right extension note sections, becoming more important, playing more notes. Yeah, and I think the interesting thing is, like, you know, getting to those upper extensions, because there are so many ways we can do it, you know. Wow, magic, isn't it? Alright, how loud's this? There we go. Just getting the levels right here. Maybe make it bigger chord. That's pretty good, isn't it? So yes, upper extensions, let's talk about that, because I'm sure your process will be very similar to mine. But one thing I really like the sound of is sort of this, right? So, I think the first thing for me to get to the upper extensions is, yeah, you've got your pentatonic scale. What, they're too loud? There aren't any chord changes, there's just one static E minor 9. Oh, my hands are cold. Stick to the strings. So basically, high OIDM. So basically, pretty much all of that's like pentatonic scale. Thing with the pentatonic scale is we've got a root, we've got a minor third, we've got a fourth, or an 11, we've got a fifth and a seventh. But my favourite note is the minor 9. So how do I get to that? Just using pentatonic scales. Well, you can start using pentatonic substitution. And over this E minor 9 chord, there are a couple of substitutions we can use. Well, there's actually 3 if we're in Dorian. So the first obviously is the minor. Then my favourite is basically then playing B minor over that. And actually, if we superimpose the two things, hey, what do you reckon of that? Oof. Yeah, new power up. So basically, if we superimpose the two things, we've got a minor pentatonic like this, right? And then we've got our B minor. So I'm using position 3 because it sits directly over the E minor shape, and you can see the contrasting notes. So we've got root, and then we've got the 9th here. So that's the same as the E minor with our 4th, 11th, 5th, 7th root. And you can even put the B minor flat 5 in there as well. And mix it up with the E minor flat 5. Cool, eh? Play more of the B minor. Sounds great, doesn't it? So in terms of the higher extensions, we've now got our 11 and we've got our 9th. Now the cool thing about this, right, is like if I'm playing over this chord here in the background, it's like an E minor 9. Like if I was just playing over, say, an Aeolian progression, then those would be the 2 substitutions I would use. I wouldn't use, there aren't any other sort of substitutions that I would kind of entertain with that. That I like the sound of. But there is one more substitution we can do, which I think is really clever. And that's, if we're going to use Dorian, the cool thing about the Dorian is like all of the notes work. We don't have like an avoid note like we do have in the natural minor. Like in the natural minor, I mean, that note is apparently in tune, but it's not. That's the minor 6th. And that's the note that if we land on it and give it too much attention, it doesn't sound very good. But if we just skip over it, we're alright. It immediately wants to be resolved to something, doesn't it? So it's okay, you know, we can pivot off it. Yeah. So, you know, it is of use, but just not very useful. Only as a passing note that's in tune. Okay. So the other pentatonic we can use is basically the minor pentatonic shifted up the tone, right? So what we've got So basically, we're going to use F sharp minor pentatonic over this E minor. And what that gives us is it gives us our Dorian note. Okay, so for Dorian, we need, instead of the C, we need a C sharp. This is the sound, isn't it? But I think it sounds really good when you do like those little little chordal arpeggios that I make about the pentatonic scale. So that's just a 2-1-2 F sharp minor pentatonic. So now we've got 3 different scales we can use, and they all allow us to access all the upper extensions. So because we've got the major 6th here now, that means we've got a 13, haven't we? So, in summary, if we're in the Dorian mode, we've got in the key of E minor, with our E minor 9 chord, we've got E minor pentatonic, we've got B minor pentatonic, and we've also got F sharp minor pentatonic. And they all allow us to access different extensions. So it's a good way. And like, why would you use pentatonic scales? Well, a lot of the licks that you've got in muscle memory that you're playing in phrases are going to move basically to these other substitutions. So you can just use them. But I mean, the power of it is mixing them all up, isn't it? And don't forget, we've got the Dorian mode as well. So there you go. Quick lesson there. In the words of Rick. Right. Gonna die off. Interesting. Pedals crashed. Right. Go. Hi, Galactic. Oh, thanks for the fire. Did you watch the break? I did watch it. Yeah, so actually I tuned in straight after doing the live with Thomas. And I kind of watched it. It was pretty good. And actually, the book it'll be available, won't it? To pre-order tomorrow. So I'm probably going to get it because I've got a feeling I'll know quite a bit of it. But he had some really interesting things to say, especially about, because I didn't realize he had really short hands. I mean, I think for me, like, one of the biggest takeaways for like legato is just reinforcing that whole thing about the timing of it. I know, like, Brett Garsted, to kind of keep him. What I thought was interesting is actually he picks more notes than what you think, and that's, like, for him, like, a really solid way to stay in time with the music, because when you're using legato, you haven't got this hand all the time as a metronome keeping you in time like you have when you're picking. So you have to know, as like Tom Quayle would say, where the subdivisions are. Oh, you also have, like, the ends of his fingers bend out, don't they, slightly? I mean, mine do slightly, but not like his. I mean, I'm not sure how that would disadvantage you necessarily, but yeah. So just like keeping it, like, timing's a really important thing, because it's so easy, like when you're doing 3 notes per string, to like get into into a galloping kind of sound, whereas what we want is like an even. You want an even tempo, aren't you? So you need to know sort of where those downbeats are. More like that. So yeah, just getting that smooth. So it's a lot of control, isn't it? And then I think, like, one thing is it'll bring up, you'll start tensing when you're doing that at first. So you've really got to kind of focus in on the relaxation thing. So the timing and being able to relax are like the 2 important things, aren't they, really? Because, like, when you're doing legato at slow tempos, it's a bit like being put in a stress position. See, when you're picking, you've got that metronome, haven't you? And you can put those accents in to keep you in time. Yeah, you see. But legato, I mean, I think, like, I probably think legato's in a lot of ways the challenging technique. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't surprise me. It's just like, he just needs to do what it. Well, I mean, this is the other thing, right? Is like, how many techniques do we need to master just to be able to express ourselves? And I think the other thing is, like, his technique defines his style. I also find it very interesting as how far Brett had actually come with his guitar playing, just being in a small town or whatever in Australia with very limited connection to the outside world. That was quite eye-opening as well, because I think that's a good thing, because that allowed him to just discover his own style without kind of comparing him to, like, other players. And that's something we do, like, as human beings will do if we're given a chance, and Instagram's really bad for that. So, there'll be other players on there playing incredible things, and we'll be sizing ourselves up to them. And that may lead us to do things that necessarily we're not naturally interested in. And this is the thing that I always say, and that we talked about in the habits, that like, how important isn't it? How important is it to just actually chase the things that you're really interested in? You know, for me, it's, you know, the whole legato thing came from, I like the sound. It, like the music I make, like with synthwave, it just fits on top of it really, really nicely. There's no fighting there, and it has like a synth-like quality. So it's sort of like an extension from electronic music, really doing the legato thing. I mean, I can pick, but the legato thing kind of really, that's the thing that just sits nicely, you know. Also, being in a band with Thomas, I think legato contrasts really well with his playing as well. So it definitely gives us more separation between the two of us. So that's another reason. Like, it's a really good way. Like, legato is a really good way to kind of contrast with other players, you know, who do maybe it's like a lot of picking. But in terms of my own sort of style, yeah, it's an extension of kind of everything else that I do. So that's why I do it. It has like a particular relevancy when it comes to me as an artist, you know, and what I'm trying to do. And a massive challenge and very interesting. So, and it's great to see like how other people take. So, I mean, in short, you know, when we're talking about habits and things like that, it's easier to make a habit based around something that you're really, really interested in. Obviously, we're all interested in playing guitar. We're all interested in making guitar, like music. But, you know, what aspects are we really interested in? And you might have a feeling where you're thinking, oh yeah, but my alternate picking's really weak, I need to do that. But you don't really want to do it. You just feel that you have to do it, and you kind of bully yourself into doing it. I don't think that's necessarily the way forward. I think if it was, you know, okay, I should do my alternate picking because it's really bad. But I really, really want to do legato because, like, I love the sound of Alan Holdsworth, and that's what I want. You should be just doing the legato, shouldn't you? And actually, because Brett is very open and honest and quite happily, you know, showing everybody that, like, you know, you can only pick up a scale slowly, but he played it right. That's not a big deal to him, you know, because it's not really part of his style. He can alternate pick enough to get round with what he's doing, you know. And part of that's like invented style. You see, he does that thing where, you know, he'll play scales that he's going to pick. Like, if it's 3 notes per string, he'll pick 2 notes and then hammer the rest only. So pick, hammer. And then he'll do the other way. So pick, pull off. Very hard to get I find that really hard to get out the triplet thing. It's interesting, isn't it? And then, of course, you've got to really bury the picks, so you've got to be quite dynamic with it. It's good practice for, it's quite hard on this tone that I've got, of trying to disguise the pick attack. It's a lot better, isn't it? So I've just realised, you see, that's a brilliant exercise, isn't it? Because that's the other thing that's really tricky about sort of like legato, is kind of trying to reduce the sound of the pick and being able to control it just enough. So it sounds similar. Yeah, you know. So it's like, yeah, there's a lot of interesting things that came up with that Brett Garsted lesson. So I'm looking forward to sort of any sort of legato stuff that's like got chromatic things in it as well. So I hope like there'll be a lot of that. But I'll be ordering my book regardless because like I want to support him. And actually, I mean, anybody who hasn't got the hybrid picking book, this one, don't delay, get it. even if you think you're great at hybrid picking, yep, we're going to record there. Even if you're great at hybrid picking, there'll be stuff in there that'll improve you without a doubt even more. I mean, that's the thing. That book actually stopped me from giving up on it, to be fair. Because, I mean, I just thought, right, I'll replace the upstroke. So it would always be down, up. So, like, when I'd replace the upstroke, it would be like a hybrid pick. You know, and then you could use your other finger. But what I didn't realise is that then there's different ways to fit your picking round it. Which that book does. I mean, it's really hard, like, when I'm improvising. Like, just stuff like that where you're doing upstrokes and hybrid. You know, you're going against the muscles. Then, you know, that's quite interesting. That's what attracted me to your music when I discovered you a while back now. I used to think I was doing it wrong back when I started in my 20s, and listening to Brett, that made so much more sense. And he mentioned, yeah. So Hemrick's like excellent, isn't he? And I quite like, I was listening to them doing like an MIT live performance not so long ago, and it was really interesting just watching him, how he was doing like chromaticism and just doing these massive like scale like chromatic passages, you know. There's like literally sort of this sort of thing going on. Which actually, that's what I've been working on, to be fair. I should get a backing track on, shouldn't I? Get a backing track up. Bear with me, because actually I'm not fully geared up. Getting this wrist's always like quite hard to warm up, I find. Safari. Get that on. See if we can. Stick something on. Oh, it's nice and loud, isn't it? Like those little passages like that. There we go. Nearly. I ended up on the C though there. On let's try it again. No, did it again. Yeah. So when I'm jamming, randomly sometimes of playing the blues scale, it would be the only one I remember I need to get out of that. Yeah, so if you look back at the, oh, that reminds me. So anybody who's new on here, do subscribe to the channel. You know, I give away lots of free things, lots of free information and guitar lessons and production lessons and music coaching stuff. So it's always worth subscribing and getting the notifications. Now, yeah, the blue. I mean, like, you know, there's so much you can do with a pentatonic scale, but like I was saying early on, you know, in this video, basically I'm in the natural minor scale here, and I can use, you know, it's E minor is the key, so you could use your blues scale, but you could also use B minor blues. You could still use that flat 5, which gives you this nice chromatic note. So I'll just run through those two pentatonic scales with this, and then we can zoom in, right? So what have we got? So we'll just go straight in for your E minor, because, you know, E minor blues. So we've got our flat 5. That's my little chromatic thing, which I can't help playing. So our typical blues sort of stuff going on there. And then we can introduce B minor pentatonic. So here's our B on the second string. Blues. So I like going from the flat 5 into that note, which is the 9th. So that's a nice phrase there, isn't it? We can add some chromaticism in. So B minor. So now if you combine E minor, B minor pentatonics over the same jam, you've actually got all the 6 notes of the scale that are going to sound good. You're only missing one note. And that's the C. And that's a really good thing I like to do, is start doing chromatic stuff but playing it like at a lower tempo. Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, if you had your guitar and you jammed along, yeah, I mean, because it's all to do with the backing track as well, and like how I'm syncing up to it. It's sort of in the phrasing. But yes, I'm using the blues scale, without a doubt. So the other thing, for the people interested in chromatic playing, I think like a lot of things with chromaticism is sort of just increasing your tolerance for it, you know? I'm going to pick a different backing track. Oh look, here's something in D Dorian. Right, we're in D minor now. Oh, very fusiony, isn't it? So we're in D minor. So you got your D minor blues. Very bluesy, yeah. D minor blues, so very good. So, back to pentatonics. We've got, so if we can use D minor, we can use A minor, gives us the 9th. That's all like A minor pentatonic. Just gives us a different sound. Oops, I'm playing the wrong note there. So, A minor pentatonic, and we can use D minor pentatonic. D minor pentatonic is a root. A minor. So basically, like another way of thinking about it is you can have D minor pentatonic and then you can play a pentatonic a fifth higher up. So, hold on. You're doing great with the Frank riffs, by the way. Try tapping on the extensions at the very top of the lick. Would add extra sauce. Yeah, I don't really do the tapping thing, to be honest. I used to when I was a kid. So it's not like... So I must admit, the Frank thing, I did know it before, but it is encouraging me to use it more. I had to stop doing the fusion stuff for a bit and just get dirty, really. You see, I'm not so bothered with the tapping thing. Seriously. Oh, what was that lick I did? Used to do. Was it that? Yeah, I suppose it's handy. Cool. It's actually something that I did on Waiting for the Right Time. So the solo on there. I do like that, and it sounds quite unwholesome. Something like that. Yeah, so there's like loads you can do just with pentatonic substitution, you know. In fact, actually, one thing you can do with it, just going back to this track very briefly, I think I missed one out, which is, you know, you've got like D minor and A minor. You can also use B minor. Oops, not there though. So that's 3 pentatonic scales you can use. 2 of them alone, the D minor, A minor, give you 6 notes of the scale. E minor gives you all of the notes of the scale, plus whatever licks that you're playing. In muscle memory, you can kind of get those, you can mold them into sort of working in the Dorian. So in the Dorian, we've got 3 pentatonic. So yeah, and mind you, I'm not really much of a fusion player. It's just something I'm pulling into my rock style. Can we do some Zoom meetings? I want to bounce riffs off you. Yeah, so I'm going to plan a Zoom meeting, but I need to make sure I'm not conflicting with Thomas on his, so I need to work dates and times out for that. But there is definitely going to be a Zoom meeting. I'm thinking about Thursday, potentially. Not this Thursday, maybe next Thursday, but then the Thursday at the end of the month, we could do a Zoom meeting. By the way, everybody, do look me up on Patreon. Get the thing. To make it easy, put it in here. Okay. So follow me on Patreon. Now, there's two paid options, okay? The first paid option's $4. I suggest that because it's value for money. So if you can support this channel with the $4, that's absolutely amazing. But if you haven't got $4 to spare, don't worry, okay? Still come to the Zoom meetings, all that kind of thing. It doesn't matter. I just want people to get as much information as they can out of this, and hopefully it'll develop your playing. And I mean, there's a reason for all of that. That I think part of this is really important, and I'll come to that. Yeah, so there's the $4 option or join for free. There's like 3 dots on Patreon at the top, and you can just join. If you pull that down, you can join for free. I was really wanting the join for free to be the first option, then you go at the paid option, but I couldn't get it sorted for some reason. It wouldn't do it for me, even though I was doing exactly what it was telling me to do. That didn't happen. But then there's also a coaching option. So if you wanted to have like one coaching session a month with me, that is there. Bearing in mind, I'm a trained music coach, okay? And, the reason you'd want a coaching session, not a guitar lesson, because some people like turn up to the coaching session and they're like armed with a guitar ready to go, and I'm like, it's not a guitar lesson. And it just shows me really like how sort of confused people are about what's coaching and what's what is like teaching. I think that's the confusion there. So, and to a degree consultancy. So, simply all coaching is I'm helping you to facilitate the skills that you already have. Right now, it sounds pretty simple, that, doesn't it? But actually, it's the thing that everybody needs. Right? We are absolutely saturated with information off YouTube. Do this, do that, learn this, learn that. It's really hard to learn all these skills, and that you think that you have to acquire and then actually make music, make a connection. That's just not the case. What we need to be doing fundamentally is just using the skills that we've got to connect ourselves to the outside world. That's fundamentally what I'm all about. You see, people will sit stuck with skills saying, I can't write music because I need to be an amazing at alternate picking, or I want to do legato as good as Brett Garst did before I even start considering doing anything. But that's just not true. What you have to do is you have to start doing. I mean, the whole reason I ended up doing chromatic stuff was because I got bored of my playing, because I was playing a lot and connecting. And I realized, like, I've got to add something new here. What shall I do? What interests me? And it just happened that I was listening to a lot of players that had chromaticism. I thought, well, I'll start adding a little bit of that to see how it goes, and you slowly start developing your skills. But because, for me, I think like YouTube's particularly powerful because everything I do, I can reflect on and I can course correct and then, come up with new goals and work towards that. And that's how my playing rapidly gets quicker and gets better and better over the time, and that's due to the fact that I'm on a camera, I'm playing, not just actually playing, but talking as well, communicating with people, having a personality, trying to be yourself and not somebody else on the camera, relaxing, all these things are skills that kind of connecting to the outside world helps me do. But if I didn't make that connection, it wouldn't, I would have nothing to reflect on, so I think it's important for us to kind of, if you can learn music and you can just sit and just, if it makes you happy and, and you're like, it's a hobby and you don't want to share it with anybody, that's fair enough. But for the people who do want to have the skills to kind of get out there, even if it's just a hobby and you just want to perform but just want to get that confidence, then coaching's a one-to-one session will get you there, because I'll help you facilitate the skills that you've already got and get you to use them or see how you can use them at a professional level, or at least to what you think's professional anyway. That's for sure. And I'm always surprised at how already able people are to do that. It's just getting the thinking straightened out. But I have tools, techniques to do that. So you're in good hands. Now, the other part of this is, why bother with the coaching? And, I have a job actually in the health service in the United Kingdom. And I work as a therapeutic musician, helping people with mental health, severe autism and severe learning difficulties. So I use music as a tool to help people get well, and I've done this for years and years and years. And it also involves music coaching. And one thing I think that's really, really important is that we keep going with our music, because I know that one thing, music is an amazing protective factor. Okay, it's a great focus. It's absolutely brilliant for your brain. You know, it can actually slow down dementia. You know, it's like an amazing tool to have. It can give you purpose. And certainly when we're getting on in life, it's a brilliant thing to be doing, you know, because it keeps you alive, you know, it keeps your body functioning, it keeps your hands moving, it keeps your brain moving. There's so many sort of positive things that you get about it. There's the whole, I mean, even we think about the conditions of success, right? Community, it keeps you engaged in a community, stops you from isolating, it gives you purpose. So music's an incredibly powerful tool, which, you know, we should never give up on. We should always do it, you know, in whatever capacity we feel fit. So that's another important thing, which is another driver for this channel, because I think, like, you know, rather than put absolutely every single thing behind a paywall, that it's good to share, because it's also, you know, helps with everybody's health and well-being. So that's an important thing. Now, the other thing which I need help on, which you can probably do, and I'm sure, Enzo, you'll have a list, all right? So on this channel, I've done a number of guitar lessons, bits and bobs of production things, right? So I cover a huge wide area. So there's, if you think about it, there's the coaching, guitar, music production, all right? And what I want to know is, right, I need now, for this channel to grow, right, I have to start doing content, and I think it would be really a bit sad if I didn't start doing that and having something up there to increase, you know, for me, the visibility of the channel, but for everybody else to have some useful stuff to kind of, that's easy just to go back on. I've done the odd guitar lesson and stuff like that, which has gone all right. But I need to start regularly doing videos. So what I want to know is, what ideas, what things would you want me to cover? That's what I want to know now. I'm sure, Enzo, what would you like to see on a YouTube video? What do you think I should do? For guitar, say, or even music production? I mean, music production and guitar will bring the numbers in for sure. Coaching, that tends to be just within the group who kind of understand what I'm on about. And sometimes it's not, like, you know, that kind of thing is not for everybody. Popular songs, that's the one thing I'm not going to do. I'm not going to sit and teach Oasis. Maybe. So, CEO, oh, right, have you subscribed, CEO? I hope you have. What I'll do is, I'm happy to teach you, right, or to coach you to make your own popular songs rather than learning somebody else's. I'm quite happy to show you how they're put together, how it's constructed, how we can make a chord progression you could potentially make a banger of a song out of, and just, you know, because it's great, like, learning other people's songs, and you can kind of, great. You read tabs, cool. Well, your personality has to show the first foremost, yeah. Absolutely. So you read tabs, cool. Mind you, the lessons I'm going to put up will be pretty kind of clear. I was watching Rick Beato do a lesson. I really like the fact that he just drew on a A4 bit of paper and held it up to the camera and went, do a screenshot. I thought that was great. Yeah, we got a little bit of time, hippie. It was sort of a bit random. I was meant to be talking about habits, but I ended up just doing, like, a lesson on pentatonic substitution. Never mind, eh? So Hippie, you can probably help me out. So I'm moving into making some content. I mean, obviously the lives are going to still happen, but I need to be sort of making something every week, preferably. Right, okay. Yeah, we need to do. Right, so what I'll do is, to get my head around this, I'll do this on a live. Take 3 simple chord progression and make a full song of it. Using inversions, yeah, okay. Sounds good. Be yourself. No, well, I don't intend on being somebody else. It'll be like this. It'll be like, just got up, making a video. Yes, that's a good idea. I like that. I'm definitely going to do pentatonic substitution. Just come up with lesson ideas. So I need content ideas. What do you want me to cover? What would you like to see as reference, sort of, in my content? You know, when I'm doing these lives, you think, oh, I wish he just did a video on that little bit that he covered there. What would it be? Yeah, talk about the yeah, okay. So that's a good one. We've been doing that today, actually. So that's definitely a thing, isn't it? More lights. Yeah. I think what I'd have to do is probably remove lights to make it more like a concert. Patches for bass, guitar sounds, drum sounds, background textures. Right, yeah. So, music production stuff. Chord, key change, improv. Right. Which bit of improvising? Do you think would be good? I mean, I'll definitely do something on chromatic notes, for sure. I'm definitely going to do something on pentatonic substitution. Where's my mouse gone? There it is. Something I was going to send you earlier for the egg. Yeah, if you could, that would be good. Just email it to me, or in the Discord, or Instagram, maybe. So that could be good. Yeah, I mean that's like the day job. It's brilliant because I get to just play all day long. I get to do music technology, all this stuff, as well as my, band and that I have in this channel. Yeah, it's great. I mean, I've been. I mean, I was going to say it's lucky, but it's not. It's skill, isn't it? Really. But I've been a full-time musician since basically day one of leaving school. You know, just walked out and I was immediately, you know, doing it. However, I did go to university to do music as well. Believe it or not, I've got two. I've got two master's qualifications. There you go. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's important to we've all got to look after our mental health, haven't we? And I think I don't think things that are happening in the world at the minute really help. So it's great to have like a focus away from that, isn't it? You know, music's so powerful. One thing that I see it really helping people with is that when we're making music, we're in that flow state, and when we're in that flow state, simply, when I'm playing and jamming along those tracks, okay, there's no past. I'm not reflecting on past thoughts, and I'm not thinking about potential future disasters either. I'm simply just completely embodied in what I'm doing. There's only the now, and it's a great thing to be able to. Music trains you to focus in on the now, and I love that. That's like one thing that I love about music is whatever I do, whatever I learn in music, just even that, just learning to focus on one thing, it teaches you to do. It's like something like the 18th martial art, isn't it? Music. Something like that. Or was it the 21st martial art? I can't remember which one. Yeah. I was going to move on to a PhD, which is probably where like Thomas gets the, like somebody goes, sometimes he'll call me Dr. Hutch, well, I'm not, but I have two PhD proposals, and what I used to do is if there was funding coming up, I would wheel them out and see what, see if I could get funding for stuff. Yeah, I'm dying to know what you think of the new multi-scale guitar versus the standard scale. There was a video, there was like a thing we did live with me and Thomas. I think multi-scale's really nice. I really like playing it. I think, though, my brain is a little bit too old school for it. I'm quite happy with my straight frets. But multi-scale is nice. And actually, I forgot, I need to, I'm designing the new guitar. So there's going to be a new Kiesel at some point. And I kind of know what I want. It's going to be the new Osiris shape. I know that. And I know the colour is going to be a lighter colour. Simply so you can see my picking hand on these lives and the guitar. Because like black's great, but I need something that's like clearly visible for the pick, which I think helps keep people engaged and watching. I was thinking about a white guitar. What about white raw tone? I love multi-scale and the Strandberg. It's very subtle and very ergonomic, yeah. I mean, Strandbergs are great guitars, aren't they? I mean, the one thing like I just find with Strandberg is there's not much variety. Play Maple 5A top. Yeah, so it'll be that. Probably go for the 5-piece neck again. Richelite fretboard. Might get a nice little thingy here. Kiesel there. Pickups, not sure about what pickups. I do like. Let's try it out. I do like the. I wonder if this is in tune. Oh yeah, it is. I do like the mellowness of the of these classics. So this has got classics on a 5-way. It's it's not quite as it doesn't kind of sit up as well in the mix as the McLaughlin Fishmans, but they're really nice to play. Oops. Going off the ball here. Or a 20 dB boost. Oh, I don't know what that is, Enzo. I thought about a kill switch. What about that? That would be quite good. Strandberg board metal with Fishman Moderns. It's pearl white. So I was thinking about a raw tone white. I thought that would look quite good. With like black pickups. They look a bit Star Warsy, you know. Sustainiac. I don't know about that. Because there'll be software that's going to do that, isn't there? Basically. I think. In fact, I've probably got software that does that. I just don't use it. But I've never played a guitar for Sustainiac. I should go and see if there's one down the shop and have a go, shouldn't I? I mean, I do like legato and then sustaining notes. It's quite good. Very Alan Holdsworth in it. Put that with the back front. Yeah. Finish off some hammers only. So I do like the sound of that pickup. Very good. Right. So you have to speak with me before making the final choice. Okay, Enzo. All right, with the RG, with Sustainiac. It's a lot of fun when first bought it, but I found I don't use it all that much, really. Yeah. Things to be thinking about. Anyway, guys, I'm going to have to head off because it is time for my walk. So, slightly kind of went off at a tangent there. Not this Thursday, but I think next Thursday evening, we're going to have a Zoom call. Now, this is important because I've basically put Zoom coaching calls up before on the Discord, and not many people have turned up before in the past. So I suggest this is a very good opportunity for anybody who's interested in what's been happening on these sessions, especially regarding habits, because I think it'd be a good way to kind of close this month off, is to have just a review and a live and talk about how we haven't developed our habits, and what can be done and how we can progress. So that would be good. It'll be on a Thursday evening as well. The Zoom call would be at 8 p.m. So not this Thursday, next Thursday. All right, guys, I'll see you Wednesday evening is the next live stream where I'll be on in full shred mode. All right, thanks for tuning in. See you Wednesday evening. Bye.